Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hello, you're listening to the podcast. So there I was. This is episode number 192. That's all she's got.
That's all she's got.
That's all she had.
Well, it was almost all that pilot had. Porky opens the show with a terrifying tail on a med float and a Harrier that made it aboard with inches to spare.
Literally inches to spare.
Yeah.
Yeah, scary, because, of course, you and I both know how close that was to being an absolute fucking disaster.
Yep. This was a lot of fun, though. We had a merry band of listeners join us for a hangout. This was about a week before Christmas that we recorded this one, but it was lots of fun.
It was fun.
Quirky. It was the XO of VMA 223 came on. Our Bulldogs, our beloved Bulldogs.
The last Harrier squadron, right?
Last one.
Last one, buddy.
Of the breed, which is a Dos Gringos song. Speaking of which, it's entered into my mind. My mind's been wandering all over the place tonight.
You are something tonight.
Yeah, we had a couple air traffic controllers. We're going to have them on a future show very soon, I hope. Heater graced us with his presence again.
Oh man,
lots of fun stuff. But
that was awesome. He teased here, let's tease that. Yeah, he just showed up, told like, I don't know, half a dozen great stories, one of which was the Marines were the show. Nobody watched the movie.
Right? That was almost the show title tonight.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Watching the Marines try to get aboard the carrier because they didn't do it that much.
No. Yeah. And he even said, hey, as time went on, as they got more repetitions, it became a non-event, but in the beginning they were the show.
They were indeed. So only one sponsor this week, Anti-Gravity. Go to SlayerWows.us/anti-gravity and get yourself a free landing pad if you use that link to purchase yourself an 8K 360 drone. Thing's amazing. It shouldn't even be a drone.
How could you not have this?
Yeah. The only thing that it doesn't do is give you the G-forces as you're flying it around, but it's like flying an F-35, where if you want to see what's below you, you look down. If you want to see what's above you, you look up.
Thank you.
Wherever you look, the goggles that you wear is what you're looking at.
Thank you so much, Repeat, for buying that for me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, happy to do it. I'll get you two. But some amazing stories, a fun hangout. So we just hoping you enjoy a little camaraderie that we had this week with everybody that showed up. I think we get out of the way.
Let's get out of the way.
What all our listeners had to do, because they're who this is about.
Yeah, let's get out of the way.
All right. Don't sit on the ejection seat.
No, sit on it.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit on the tanker through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fun.
Fortunately for me, personally in the jet, not any real super close calls. We did have an incident on my last Mew. If we want to jump off with that one, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, let it rip.
All right. Well, we were in the Red Sea and doing operations. So we had some ordnance loaded up. And I was up in the tower as a training LSO, had a LSO under training controlling, bringing guys back after long combat mission, bringing them back on the numbers, super low set states. The lead lands and dash two's coming in nighttime, and I'm watching, and as I'm looking over the shoulder of the LSO UT, see him start to settle a little bit. So I say, hey, don't give him a call, don't let him settle. So he says, don't settle. And I transition from one window to the other window, and during that time he just plummets out of the sky. And
oh shit.
Yeah, he made a real good play for the deck. We're all screaming power on the radio, and From what I hear on the radio is a kind of a mumbled yelp. Ended up not being what it was. But yeah, he made it onto the deck by about 6 inches or so. Had some good damage done to the aircraft, but he was on deck, and yeah. So anyways, as it turned out, what he was saying on the radio was that's all she's got, which shit. We cut him off with yelling power. And so after the A and B, what we figured out is that he had a water failure, which we did not see from the tower because it was nighttime. And he was at the cross position, so he's over looking at the HPI and didn't see. So what had initially happened is water was flowing. Got the good checks on that. And then there's a 240 pressure switch in the electrical system that once it gets 240 PSI of water, it keeps that circuit flowing so that water flows until you land and you bring the power back. That switch failed halfway through his cross. And so ultimately what happens, he heat soaks the motor, so the limiters start kicking in. So he's full power, much as it'll get, and the RPM was just rolling back on him to keep the motor within limits on the JPT. So yeah, kind of burned in my mind. That's probably the closest call I've seen.
He didn't go through the throttle limiters? You didn't find a bent throttle on that thing?
Just didn't have time. I mean, by the recognition of what was happening and him making the decision to try to get over the deck, what we kind of concluded at the end is that if he had gone through the limiters after he had already tried coming over to the deck, that he probably would have kept going with the extra power, which would have been a lot worse. So overall, great piloting on his part to just get it over the deck. But that was not fun.
Oh, shit hot. Yeah, no way. And 6 inches, that's just terrifying, because if a few inches more, he'd have been out of the injection envelope pretty quickly, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can very vividly remember, seeing, right outrigger's over, mains are over the scupper, and then the left outrigger actually hit the side of the scupper. So, pretty close call.
Terrifying. Holy shit. Did you guys get to use the jet again?
No, we sure didn't.
Oh, shit.
Well, for parts.
Yeah. It was
a Hangar Queen.
It was a ship rider for the rest of the deployment there. So
fantastic. Well, I'm glad he's okay. That's
terrifying.
Especially at night. Nothing worse than coming aboard that boat at night. Especially, I don't know, how was the weather? Was there any horizon at all, or was it?
Oh no, it was the Red Sea, summertime. Yeah, it was. There's no horizons out there. You got about 2 mile visibility with all that haze and everything. So, yeah.
One of the worst cases of vertigo I ever had in my life was coming aboard the ship at night, and I was so tense I was leaning forward against my harness really hard, and that added to my vertigo and made me feel like I was hovering upside down. Just looking at the lights going, something ain't right here.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about during the A and B was that there's no oral indication or tone of losing the water system. So, in the daytime, you can see it with the black smoke coming out, as an LSO. In the jet, you can see it with the flow up in the HUD on your EPI, the water counting down. But at nighttime, when you're outside, outside the HUD looking at the HPI, and people just couldn't, it's like, well, we should submit an ATOPS change. We should, try to put this stuff in there so it's a audible tone or something. And we're like, we got like a year left.
Well, they were literally still writing changes to the flight manual for the 727 when it had 8 months left to go. So, because they could.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying. Holy shit. Well, I'm glad he's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Couple of abbreviations there. One was A and B, aircraft mishap board. So that's everybody gets together and talks about what, why, and how it happened and how to prevent it. Let's see. There was another one in there. I can't think of what it was. But
well, the question that I got is
to make the engine go faster and cool it. So give it more.
How's
thrust.
the pattern different coming to the boat with the Harrier?
Oh, that's a good question.
It is
Different than
Well, like as compared to like a traditional, like a regular aircraft carrier, you got the stack, and so I mean, I've got the Helo Bubba perspective, and I can tell you what the approaches are like to the boat, but I'm curious as to because you described the Harrier approach, and I was just sort of like, okay, trying to imagine what that's like in my head.
Yeah, sure.
It's just fucking awesome, okay, Sticks? Just all you got to know.
Yeah, it is definitely different than a CVN where you got everybody up in the stack, and a lot of them are kind of no comms approaches. The guy below you comes down, then you come down in the stack, and kind of day VFR flying. For us, since we're the only fixed wing out there, it's much less busy when we come into land. So it's usually a section, maybe a division if you've got a division out. But yeah, we'll still come in, daytime VFR will come in, we'll do the overhead to the downwind case one pattern, just kind of like come into the field. Obviously, we only do vertical landings at the boat, so everything ends with the vertical landing. In instrument conditions or at nighttime, we typically do what's called the LH2 approach. So LH2 holding to a instrument approach where you'll either get picked up by the ship controllers, similar to a PAR, or you can use the TAC-AN to do a self-contained TAC-AN approach. So we'll, come up to the ship and, daytime and aided. When we get up to the ship, we'll take an offset. So we come up a beam to the side of the ship, the port side of the ship, and then we'll make a cross. If we are unaided at night, we'll go up the aft end of the ship to spot 7. All night landings are at spot 7. Daytime, we can do 7 and 9 is our typical. There are envelopes for other spots, but we usually just stick to 7 and 9. So,
okay, right.
Or anywhere you can
actually
get the left outrigger over the scupper.
Yeah, right. Anywhere on steel.
Oh man. Okay. Fantastic. Any other close calls? So there I was. Anyone? Scotty?
I'll give you one.
All right.
I'm not a pilot. I'm not military.
That's why you had a close call, man.
Yeah. But
You're supposed to be up there.
after I graduated from college, I went to work for a company called RCA, and I worked on the Aegis radar systems.
Okay.
And we got a call that where did we go? We ended up in Arizona at one of the test sites for the radar system. And, we're getting all weird interference and whatnot. And the higher up says, obviously, there's a leak somewhere in the system. So me and another techie went out there. There was 4 systems. We isolated 2 of them. So powered it down and all that. And first rule of thumb for electrical engineering, don't wear rings, jewelry, anything.
Okay.
This guy was older, and some of you gentlemen may have already experienced, you get that wedding ring on there, and your wife super glues it or something so it can never come off of you. All right. So pop the panels. I'm on one thing, right? You see all the waveguides to feed the array and whatnot. And then he was about maybe 6 feet away from me, and I could smell, and I looked over, and he pulled his hand out of the system, didn't touch anything. His wedding ring was cherry red.
Ooh.
That doesn't sound good.
Oh, look. Right?
It's permanent now.
Yeah.
Somehow there was leakage through the conduit, so some of the electromagnetic waves were drifting over. It was the right wavelength, and
Oh shit!
so automatically They took him to the hospital. Somehow he kept his finger, but they had to literally peel the ring off.
Oh, boy.
And,
That's not fun.
to this day, I talk to him every once in a while, still has that wedding ring fridge. He doesn't have the wife that went with it, but still got the wedding ring fridge.
That's
But I
right.
think,
Guard for
So,
life in
I
all
mean-
ways in one.
Yep.
it's like, other, so there I was, it's a wake-up call in my field. You got to pay attention. I've done stupid things where, working with a screwdriver, it slips. You hear it going bang, bang, bang. Like, first thing you do is turn the face away so the arc doesn't hit you in the face when it finally contacts something. But it's like, okay. But only thing for me is I've done stupid things, with the pliers, cut a 120 line, get the boop, okay. But other than that, haven't gotten myself killed yet.
There's
But
still
When I
time.
mentioned
Obviously, you're just
Yeah.
not trying hard enough.
Never know.
Yeah. I'm a slacker.
I've got a pair of electrical pliers that has a 14 gauge wire marked right in it, right where it instantaneously melted hardened steel. The size of
There
that.
you go.
Huh.
I had a pair of multimeter leads that the ground once, the whole tips melted.
Oh,
Yep. Yeah, that was a good one.
Kids don't play with electricity. Don't stick your tongue in the socket. All right.
okay. You just triggered something.
Right on.
737. The igniter switches are forward, up near the forward end of the overhead panel. And one day, and I can't tell you why, we're taxiing. This is 20 some years ago. I'm in the right seat. And I noticed when I reached up and turned the igniter switches on for the before takeoff checklist, I could feel behind the panel right there. I thought, I've never felt that before. So I started feeling, I can't see what I'm touching, but I'm feeling what's behind that panel and guess I got some, I made a connection. And that wire that goes to that switch, it was fucking hot. It was like I got hit with a sledgehammer in the shoulder of the arm that I was touching. Must have been my left shoulder. I got pushed back in the chair. It was like, God, like I just got punched. That was not 115 volts. It was something a little more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For your hair.
for igniters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let the
I've
engine
got
off,
one.
though.
Somebody's got one.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah. So my first airline, year 2000, Chicago Express Airlines, flying a Saab 340. I was a brand new flying with a great captain. We were in IMC going into Chicago Midway, and our radar saturated. And supposedly, we're looking at our TCAS, and something pops up, and it's coming quick. And air traffic controller doesn't tell us anything about it because they weren't talking to him. It was a Lear out of Gary,
Oh boy.
and he missed us by 100 feet. And I thought it was over that day. I'll never forget.
Oh, boy.
He got on the ground. We were both shaking. And it was just like, because, we're in a South 340 and he's in a Lear. I mean, we're not going to outclimb that thing.
100 feet vertically or 100
Yeah,
feet?
vertically. Yeah.
Oh,
Vertically.
shit.
Yeah, it was over. It would have been over, but he turned, and it was, that was a awakening moment. The other thing we had was, well, my cousin was one of the gentlemen who, is a University of Illinois grad. He also helped design the TCAS system. So I called him that night and said, "Hey, you saved my life."
That's freaking awesome.
So it's pretty cool.
Well, so thinking of close calls, I got one for when it was on the ground, and this was not my story. It was a gent I flew with a bunch, and he told me he'd been going night, what we call hub turns, which mean you would fly from your out city into Memphis, sleep for 3 or 4 hours if you could, or watch a movie, what have you, and then get up and fly back to your out city. And so he'd gone 3 nights in a row, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. Thursday night rolls around, he gets a new first officer, and he's taxiing in the MD-11 southbound on taxiway November in Memphis, going out to runway 18 right. And new first officer's kind of quiet. They haven't really it's the first time they've ever met, flown together, what have you. So they've known each other about 30, 40 minutes. And they're taxiing out. And there's an Airbus stopped about 300 or 400 yards up in front of him on taxiway November. And he's sitting there stopped. There's probably 8 or 10 airplanes waiting to go. The Airbus was the one in front of him. First officer stands on the brakes, brings to a stop. He's like, okay, whatever. Sets the parking brake. Airbus starts to move. He lets the parking brake off, starts taxiing a little bit. Airbus stops. And again, about 300-400 yards back, first officer steps on the brakes, brings the airplane to a stop. He sets the parking brake again, and he's sitting there, and he looks over at him and goes, I'm making you nervous? He's like, well, yes, sir, you kind of are. He goes, there's plenty of room between us and the Airbus up there. He goes, not the Airbus I'm worried about. It's the Learjet down there you keep trying to hit. So he was 20 feet above him, and he just never saw him. He goes, I didn't have any problem staying awake the rest of the night. That adrenaline shot of piss to the heart kept me awake the rest of the night. He goes, would have been nice if you said something. But
Oh boy.
Yeah. He never saw the guy come off the FBO ramp. And you don't expect that in the middle of the night launch.
No.
At a major cargo airport, you're not looking for the little
Do any of you guys fly into Santa Ana or Burbank?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a pretty high threat level for us too at Southwest. And just dealing with the, civilian traffic is pretty brutal, especially like going into Burbank with Van Nuys, because they always keep you up high on the approach. And we all know that it's just such a short runway, and there's no margin for error, just like Santa Ana isn't either for that.
You triggered a story, and it's not a dig. It's not a dig at Southwest, Scott, but it happens to this story includes a Southwest cruise. So let me set it up for you.
Cool.
I don't remember when it was. It was sometime in the late 90s or early 2000s. One of your jets landed high and hot and went through the barrier, across the road, and into the Chevron station.
Yes.
Okay. Well, after that, the Chevron station basically got leveled and it was just an empty lot. They didn't repair it. And so that's key to the understanding the story. So how I'm flying with this guy named Frank Lacey. He was like the number 2 senior guy based in Denver, and he was really a funny guy. He had hair down to about the crack of his ass, and he would roll it all up and wear this god awful wig around to hide all his hair.
A man bun.
Oh no, he had a lot of hair.
Even better.
Yeah. So he built Harley drag bikes and he raced them, and he was just fucking crazy. So one morning we're on the van on our way to Burbank to leave, and we stayed at the same hotel that the Southwest cruise did. And so Frank was in the front of the van, I was in the very back, and this whole Southwest crew, pilots and flight attendants, are sandwiched between us. It's dark. It's like 5:30 in the morning. I got a cup of coffee in my hand. I'm just sitting back there, just trying to wake up. And we're driving in, and we're driving by where the Chevron station used to be. And Frank goes, "Hey, Fig, didn't there used to be a Chevron station there?" And I looked over, and I'm like, I can't fucking believe he's going there. And I'm like, "Yeah, Frank, I think there was." And he didn't say another word, and nobody said a thing. It was eerily quiet. And they got off first. Nobody said a thing. And he closed the door, and then we started fucking laughing. I'm like, "Oh my God, why would you do that?" He goes, "I want to see what they'd say."
Do you remember the famous picture? So
No.
you see the fuselage, and then behind it is the how much cost for gas sign with Chevron.
Yeah.
Southwest getting cheap fuel.
Yeah. Well, we had another issue there a few years ago too. And, guys
I don't know.
They went into the EMAS, and we made a lot of changes there for briefings and how we brief our touchdown point and everything too. So
Awesome.
yeah, they got really lucky. Really lucky. then we had an engine failure out of there not too long ago.
Tell what the EMAS is, or EMAS.
Yeah, for the non-pilots, what's EMAS?
Yeah, so basically, it's this it's a material like a concrete material that it's at the end of the runway when there's no more runway left. You go into it and it stops the aircraft, and you sink down into it. And it actually has a shelf life too on it, so you have to replace it after so many years.
Well, that I didn't know because I knew it was
I didn't know that.
Kind of like
they just replaced some of midways,
except soft cinder block, I guess, right?
Yeah,
you could walk on it, no problem. Right. But if something heavy rolls on it, it crushes.
Right. Yeah,
it's like a runaway truck ramp,
Right.
Sand,
yeah, exactly.
Deep sand. Well, this is deep concrete.
Yeah. So, but just like Santa Ana, the controllers there's, they're good controllers, but there's just so much traffic and they lead up so high. You really have to have you have to have a really good essay. And I always tell my FOs, configure early. It's okay.
That's right. It's okay.
Because when you're in a max, you can't come down and slow down.
No.
The energy state is just too high. It's a slick jet.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's see if I think I can get that picture up real quick.
Actually, I got it. I'm working on it.
Oh, yeah, okay. I think I have it. But if someone else has a quick story.
How can you get it up there?
That's like that.
Oh, shit. Here it comes. There it is. Wow, look at the price of fuel.
Look at the prices. $1.59. Oh, that was
it's $1.79 for the high octane stuff.
Yeah. I'll pay that.
Yeah. Well, the airplane doesn't look too bad.
Was that you, Bago, or was that repeat?
That was repeat.
No, it was repeat.
Yep.
Wow.
I got this tech stuff down. Just ask me. All right. Any controller stories, near misses, stupid pilot tricks? Come on. One of you guys has one.
Nothing.
I promise we've heard plenty of them.
It's not something I personally witnessed, but I can tell you from stories from my old coworkers that I heard.
Okay.
I'm currently at Providence. I've been here for 3 years. Before that, I started at New York Approach, working on the Kennedy sector. When I got there first, there was a story that happened not too long ago. Must have been, a few years before COVID. They got a KLM 747 that was flying in. And apparently was piloted by the prince or the son of the king of the Kingdom of Netherlands. So they have a hierarchy, they have a family that's been in power for years. And the prince of Netherlands, he's a military pilot for the Dutch Air Force. And he was also an employee of KLM. I'm not sure if that's still true to this day, but at that time he was. Well, they were landing on runway 48 at Kennedy, and they had to initiate a go-around. So the local controller gave him, the climb out instructions, right, heading 100, 3000, contact departure. And the pilot, the prince, requested, can we just stay in the pattern? In the 7-4. And he did. He kept the 7-4 in the pattern, landed right behind. And the guy working, arrival, departure at Kennedy on the TRACON side, he could not believe what he saw. It was like the coolest thing ever. I mean, I would love to see that from the tower's perspective, seeing a 7-4 in a pattern with, 500 passengers.
Yeah, that's very awesome.
Fitting right in sequence.
Have any of you seen the Concorde fly?
No, I haven't.
No, me neither. I never got to see it either.
I have. I'm sending Heater a link because he's joining us. I have seen the Concorde fly. I actually saw it from the air one time.
Oh, wow. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it passed right below me by about 1,000 feet. But so I was in about 10th in line one morning for takeoff. And let's say everyone was taking off on 3-1 left at Kennedy. And so I think it was Alpha taxiway where I'm headed opposite direction going down to the approach end of 3-1 left for takeoff. And I was the first officer on the DC-10. Concorde throttled up. And as he went by, I couldn't read my engine instruments. It was so loud, and it vibrated the engine instruments in the airplane so much that they literally were unreadable. It was jaw-dropping how loud that damn thing was. Because you hear other planes go by as they're taking off. Not this.
I was on a ship in the North Atlantic when it flew over, and it rattled. The sonic boom rattled the windows on the bridge.
Wow, impressive.
I think maybe today. I think they I think Congress passed a bill that lifts the ban on supersonic travel over the U.S.
Repeat. Check your text messages.
Yeah, I see it. I know my computer or my keyboard's really loud, and I'm trying not to do much on it, but trying to get a link.
Big or Repeat or any of the other guys that are Marines, were you ever in El Toro?
Not stationed there, but I've been through there.
I was there. I was based there for 3 years, and I was there the night that Corporal Foote took the A4 for.
No way.
Yeah.
Were you really?
Yeah. So are you guys aware of the story and how that all transpired?
Oh yeah.
Well,
that was 1986.
86.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was it was the summer of 86.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in officer candidate school in
Okay.
Quantico, and the sergeant instructor brought the newspaper clipping in and stuck it on the pole and says, "See there, candidates, all you aviation candidates, you don't need a college degree to fly a jet."
Yep.
Well, he was General Miller, CG of 3rd Maw's crew chief, and General Miller, he went PLC program. He was going for his medical, and he failed because he held a whole bunch of glider altitude records.
Yeah.
And something similar to the bends. He got something similar to the bends, and they're like, you'll never be a naval aviator. So to prove a point, and to this day, I don't know how he got the A4 started by himself. Because it takes two people.
Oh, you needed the huffer. That's right.
It takes two people. It takes two people. Right. So, but he was doing touch and goes in El Toro without any runway lights. I mean, Jesus. And then you find out if you search him, where do you all think he ended up at?
He's hired. He's running a lighter than air aircraft company. Unless I'm mistaken.
Right. So what happened was going back, he's in the brig for a little bit. Well, he gets his general discharge because they find out he's General Miller's, General Miller's been taking him up in the A4, getting him in the sim and doing all this stuff. So it's like the hush, so they push under the rug. He got hired at one point. He was a test pilot for NASA.
Yeah.
Holy
Shut
shit.
the front door.
Yeah.
We need to get that guy on.
I mean, oh God, if that would be a hell of a story to have.
Yes,
have that guy. Because I'll never forget. We were at the bar one night, and everybody's saying, "Did you just hear what happened?" And we're like, "You got to be kidding me!"
So really, how he would have had to have an accomplice.
He would have to.
Yeah. Because of the getting started.
Yeah, there's no way he could start that by himself.
Never gave up.
And no one knows. That was a great El Toro story, though.
Fantastic. It's
He's
almost
the only,
too good to be true.
Yeah,
but it happened.
It's definitely infamous.
He's the only one that stole a military jet and never went to the brig forever. Or court-martialed for it.
At least he didn't take it to the Russians,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Peter-san, welcome. We see you.
Uh-oh.
Oh. There he is.
I was on.
We got.
Okay.
We're getting stadium echo.
Yep. We'll get it figured out here. So, just asked him to unmute, but all right. So Kennedy, New York approach, Kennedy, man, that's busy stuff. No, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. The amount of traffic they move and the sequence that they do to, both runways at the same time, it's truly impressive. Someone young and new to the agency at the time, that was, I wanted to get to that point at some point down the line. Things didn't work out to me, and I came to Providence, and it's been a blessing at the end of the day. There's things I see at Providence that I would never see at Kennedy with the GAs, with some of the military stuff. Kennedy's just heavy passenger for the 135 traffic. Here we get a good mix of, you never know what you're going to see on the radar scope, or you never know what requests you might get.
I can only imagine how much more difficult that is. But Kennedy, I'm sure, is much like Logan, that goes out of their way to make it next to impossible for a light civil to land. Not that you can't, but just my daughter was coming home from school one time, and I thought, well, I'll take my little airplane down and pick her up at Logan Airport and fly her home. And between the landing fees and the ramp fees and the fees on the fees, it was about $400 just to slow down, open the door, let her hop in, and taxi out and leave.
That's pretty
Yeah,
insane.
They don't want me there.
Yeah.
I would say that's still pretty cheap.
Yeah.
But
I felt unwanted. I could have hired a stretch limo to go down for a little more than half of what that was. So,
are you familiar with Kennedy? Have you flown in there a lot?
oh yeah, a bunch. Yeah.
So one thing that always bugged me about that airspace in particular, when you're landing 2-2 and you look at the charts, the class Bravo airspace, the shelf that when they basically put you on a modified base leg for 2-2 left, 2-2 right, the Bravo, I believe, starts at like 12 or 1,300 feet, and they descend you to 2,000, 3,000 to stagger you and bring you to both approaches per hell. Well, you can have, a little Cessna Skyhawk there at 1,200 feet, 1,300 feet, just flying right in your face, not talking to anyone, and be legal. And there are so many TCAS alerts, heavy especially, you have to take evasive action because we don't know who they are. They're not talking to anyone, but yet they're illegal, right? So the airspace is just, it's very complex.
Just a little bug splat on their windscreen.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd flown into and out of the New York City airspace on multiple occasions in my little helicopter, and you had to have your head on a swivel, and it was always it was always an adventure when you went in there. But the controllers were fantastic, especially if we were working a SAR case. They would vector planes around for us. It was, they would pretty much let us do whatever the hell we wanted. So.
Actually, one of the funnest approaches there is out there, still left, is the Canarsie VOR. It was about a year ago. It was still there, but where you, or in the Canarsie Visual, where you fly along the shoreline and then follow the strobe lights on top of the hotels and all that good stuff. So,
somebody's got a question.
Didn't they also have out of LaGuardia the Canarsie Climb, where you intercept two radials coming off of LaGuardia? Do you remember that?
Never flew LaGuardia. Did Kennedy and Newark a bunch, but not LaGuardia.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I got a question for the controllers.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was recently talking to some controllers from one of the LHDs, and when you leave the LHD airspace, they say report sweet with the beach. So that you got your nav system going there, you're talking to somebody on the beach. And I was like, oh yeah, every time you say that, I just say yes. So I stopped talking to you. I haven't talked to anybody at the beach yet. And he goes, yeah, well, we're not actually saying beach, we're saying bitch. So just report, sweet with the bitch. Have you ever heard that? And I was like, no, I have never caught that. So any controllers got any, little isms that they throw in there that maybe we haven't caught before?
That's going to be very dependent on the facility or the airport you fly to. I can't think of anything. Into Providence in particular, there is. So as you know, we cannot solicit I-4 cancellation from you guys, from GA guys. Our way of saying, hey, cancel now is, if you wanted a certain approach, go into a certain fix, hold, expect further clearance in 25 minutes or half an hour, like a amount of time. So that prompts, most pilots go, all right, we'll cancel, go VFR. Cool, go ahead, get you on the ground safer. That's one thing I can think of, but nothing like that you just mentioned.
Nice. That's a full-on dick move. I like that.
That's pretty good.
Very cool. Heater, we were talking close calls. You had one last night you were talking about. Any close calls where you tickled the handle or came close?
Oh, I had a couple flying. One time I was going into, I think it was China Lake, and I heard a flight of 4 F4s from the Marine Corps, in fact. And they called the initial the same time I did.
Ooh.
And so I went, okay, I better pop it up. So I popped up a couple thousand feet above the initial altitude because I couldn't find the F4s. Little did I know that they did the same thing. And so My cockpit got dark for a second. There was a flash, and I could feel the thump of the air. And when I got back on the ground, Dash 4 said he was flying along in echelon and looking at Dash 3 in a left-hand turn. And all of a sudden, he saw the belly of an F5 between him and Dash 3.
Oh, shit.
And I flew between two airplanes in echelon at the initial and didn't hit anybody. So I'm not a very good pilot.
Fine.
So that was a close call. It went by so fast I didn't bother to get scared.
No time to get scared. Oh man.
And there's a bunch, when you do as many dogfights as I have, I chase people uphill, and in the beginning I wasn't as good as judges airspeed as I should have been, or as I was later. And I chased the guy uphill, and it was an A7, in fact. And he ran out of airspeed about 2 seconds before I ran out of airspeed. And he flopped back over, and his wing went below the belly of my airplane, and his canopy went by my airplane. So we just sort of went whoosh, probably a 3-foot miss.
Completely out of control, both of you. No aerodynamic control.
Nobody who had any aerodynamic control.
Yeah.
We were both ballistic.
I had.
So I learned from those two things. Thank God they happened very early on in my career, and so I stayed away from that.
I bet. Oh, holy shit.
Yeah. So that's just pure luck. I mean, there's no skill involved. It was just, wow, some people died and I didn't. Just pure luck.
Back to better to be lucky than good.
Yeah.
When luck runs out, you better be good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you had one, Fig. Very similar.
Well, yeah. Heater triggered that memory. It was with another instructor, in a T-45. We were doing IUT flights. I was checking him out. Anyway, neither one of us were going to give
under training,
give any quarter to the other guy. And the next thing you know, we did this pass where you call left or left, no, right, left to right to left, left to left. It was like, well, shit, there's nothing I can do. I'm just along for the ride. And we got too close. It was not good. Same scenario. Wasn't flying anymore. Airplane was just falling. Then I had a student. I lost track of. I had 3 solo students in the low gun pattern at El Centro one time, and I had lost track of one of them. And I had a new instructor in the front seat that I was checking out, and so I'm watching him roll in, and I'm looking for the student I can't find, and then I caught something out of the corner of my eye, and he came right in front of us. Belly up, rolled out right in front of us, missed hitting us by, I don't know, 10 feet. Oh, I was pissed. I was pissed at myself for losing track of that kid, and also pissed at him for going, losing track of us. Yeah, it could have been bad that day. Repeat.
Yeah, you both flew Harriers, right?
Yes, sir.
So I ended up never flying slow again after I picked up my buddy, got 40 pounds of my buddy out of that hole we talked about yesterday.
Yes.
And 2 days later, we lost 2 F4s back to back doing ACM because they were F4G wild weasels. They weren't used to dogfighting. So both of them left smoking holes in the ground. One didn't eject. And that all happened like back to back to back.
Oh, wow.
And then I had a couple Harriers I was flying against. They thought, let's put Harriers in the Top Gun class. And I mean, a Harrier at 20,000 feet is ridiculous, especially dogfighting. And
we get one bad turn. That's our one trick.
you get one turn, and then it's like a Lumshabak. you're looking down and there's this green dart just going end over end over end. And
You did fight Harriers.
Oh my God. So after that, and then I got in a bunch of many be manys. And what you notice was whoever got the slowest got shot first. And whoever shot the slowest guy got shot second because he was predictable.
Yep.
And so even though I love, the slow fight and getting in a rolling scissors that turned into a flat scissors, and it was almost like who could stand their airplane on the tail and be the most dangerous, and then you got behind the other guy and then you gunned him.
Right.
And it was cool, except you died if it was a multiplane because somebody else would kill you.
Oh yeah.
So I realized, I don't want to just win this dogfight in a phone booth. I want to survive. And so I ended up keeping my knots up from that point on. I saw too many people spin and too many people eject and get killed and stuff like that. So unless I was doing a 1v1 with a bro and we were no shit 1v1, nobody else out there, then of course you got into a knife fight in a phone booth with those. But all the rest of the fights, I never went slow again. I kept my knots up, even passed up a shot, and then I'd eventually get 3 kills and nobody killed me. And I thought that was a hell of a lot better. And so
Smart.
I evolved, and
Yeah.
after a couple of years, I never went back to that stuff because I figured somebody was going to die trying to beat me.
Did you ever fly or know Duke Cunningham?
I knew Duke very, very, very well. And when I was Red Eagle, I brought him and Willie up to Tonopah.
Okay.
And they were in an F4S. And my idea was to create a 1v1 with people that he fought against, the MiG-17 and MiG-21. And so me and Sak Sheen went out and each did a sortie with him. And I've never spoken about it, and because he's a big ace and he was famous. And then I heard from a lot of people that Willie Driscoll, who was in his back seat, talked about it because we had 3 engagements. And all I'll say is what Willie tells everyone is after the first turn, he was looking over his shoulder at a black hole, aiming right at their airplane the whole time. And he got ATOL'd and gunned, and we did it 3 times, 3 fights on. That's how all 3 ended up. So that's Willie's story. I'm not saying anything else.
Yeah, he could.
Well, he was keeping you predictable. Don't worry. Putting your word.
I got to meet him. I got to meet him in the '80s, along with Pappy Boyington and El Toro at an air show.
Cool.
That was really probably one of the highlights back in the day.
Yeah,
It was the same day that Colonel Caddick crashed the F-18 at the air show.
No shit.
Yeah. My CO did the JAG investigation on that one.
Well, it's a real shame that our MiG ace turned into a felon and stole all that money and was a bad congressman.
Yeah.
You can't take away what he did in Vietnam. So
True. Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool shit.
For sure.
And it was Colonel Toom. And I thought I'd go to my grave knowing that I had 3 1v1s and a MiG against our MiG ace and got him every time. But I never told anyone, never said that before, because I didn't think I didn't think Willie would say anything. And I know Randy would never say anything.
Right.
So then I found out Willie was telling everybody. So I'll mention it here.
It's free game now.
Hey, everyone has their day in the sandbox, right?
Exactly.
Right in the barrel, their day in the sandbox.
And he was in an F4N, I think it was called. Okay. And the F4N was lighter weight and it had slats. And it was a really nice airplane, very much like the F4F that I flew in Germany. And I liked that airplane. That was tough.
when I was in El Toro, they only had one squadron left. I think it was P3, the F4s for reconnaissance.
Yeah.
They were there in the 80s when I was there. So, yeah, that's the only F4s we saw. That was a cool bird.
Peter, I think I asked you on the show, which would have been last week now, last week, and we moved on before you got a chance to answer. I think you kind of answered it sideways because you said the minute you got in the Tomcat, you felt like the F-14 was just an extension of your body more than you ever expected. But which of the airplane was the Phantom or the Tomcat more natural coming aboard the boat? Which was easier?
The F4 was solid.
Okay.
You could get an OK3 no comment in an F4 if you knew what you were doing pretty easy because it didn't move. When you had your angle of attack and your attitude set and you were on lineup, I mean, it came down solid.
Like on rails.
With the F-14, if you look at an F-14, you'll see the tails are split like this. You got the spoilers going up and down. The wings are so wide that even a tiny little turn makes the airplane look like it's really going back and forth. And especially with the nose, it's so long. You do just a little bunt on your nose or a little nose up, and the airplane looks like it's doing a lot of shit. So when we went from an F-14 only air wing, when I was the top hook or top 10 almost every line period, and so were all the other F-14s, we get into an F-18 air wing. The first day, nobody got an okay. Nobody. And we're like, what the hell's going on? So we go the next day. Nobody in an F-14 got an okay. All the F-18s, okay 3, okay 2, okay 3. And so we said, look, all of you LSOs are F-18s. You think you're a little biased? And I'd go, see all these top tailhook patches? Do you think I got worse just because I came to this ship instead of the last ship? And they're like, well, you know, you guys are moving all around. Everything's going, we have to grade all that stuff. And so there was a definite bias against the F-14 because it was big. That's why they called it a turkey.
Yeah.
Because it had all these feathers that were always moving all the way down. And so
it's the size of a tennis court, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. In dogfights, you talk about the flying tennis court. You look over there and see that big tennis court, and then you just take your MiG-21 or 17 and go boink, point it at it, and all he could see was a tiny little black hole about that big, and it was an invisibility switch. So if I had to come aboard, especially with an emergency, or I'd much rather have the F-14 because it flew slower and it was safer. But if you want a good looking pass, you could be rock steady in an F-4. The trouble is, if you have a bad pass in an F-4, it's much worse than an F-14. Much, much worse.
Okay. That makes sense too. Yeah.
Because we had Trip Trey, your Marines.
Right.
Yeah.
We cross-decked to the Nimitz. And let me tell you, Marines, when landing came, everybody came to the ready room, all over the ship. Everyone watched the plat cameras. And I mean, you would see a Marine go below the deck and everybody standing up in their seats in the ready room is like, holy shit. I mean, he's in close, disappeared. Couldn't even see him on the plat camera. And then all of a sudden, you'd see this airplane come up in 2 afterburners, at night. And everybody'd go, whoosh. He made it. And then all of a sudden on the plat camera, boom, it would come back down right in the wires. It was unbelievable. Yeah. The Marines for the first half of the crew were the show. We wouldn't even watch the movie. Everybody watched the whole ship watched the plat camera. It was amazing.
Boy.
And it's not because they were Marines. we all did the same thing when we had that many traps, right? So it was because we had 100 or 200 traps and they're working on their 18th and 19th,
Right.
So it was a real shit show and a lot of fun. By the end of the cruise, they were just as good as we were.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That could be a title for this.
That's what, the Marines were the show.
The Marines were the show. Nobody watched the movie.
Exactly. Oh, holy shit. Yeah, and I guess Nasty told a quick story about how the 14 and the 18 were completely different at the carrier, in the pattern, that sort of thing. So he came in his first carrier landing as
you put the thing on the thing,
Nimitz, right? Yeah, and he
put
he
the
put
thing
on
on the thing and
hit the
fucking
brake
lands itself
and,
practically.
Yeah, put on a bat turn and found himself over the round down cone in the wrong direction, going, well, shit, that was a little tight. Yeah, Hornet would just swap ends. So there are drones, and then there are drones that completely rethink what flying even means. The anti-gravity A1 isn't just another quadcopter with a better camera strapped to it. It's the world's first 360 all-in-one 8K 360 drone that changes everything about how you experience flight. Instead of staring at a little screen and pushing sticks around, you put on the vision goggles and you're inside the scene. You're not flying a camera, you're flying through the environment. You can turn your head, look anywhere, and explore the world in real time with ultra-low latency. It's immersive in a way traditional drones just aren't. What really makes the A1 wild is how intuitive it is. With anti-gravity's free motion control mode, you literally point where you want to go. No memorizing stick combinations, no steep learning curve, just point and fly. It's accessible enough for someone who's never touched a drone, but deep enough to stay interesting for people who know what they're doing. And creatively, this thing is a cheat code. Look, the A1 captures 8K 360 video, which means you don't have to nail the perfect angle while you're airborne. You fly first, frame later. One flight gives you endless options in post. Forward shots, top down, side passes, dramatic pullaways, all from the same take. Miss the shot? Just reframe it. No second flight, no wasted battery. The drone even disappears from its own footage thanks to intelligent lens placement and advanced 360 stitching. It's called the invisible drone effect, and it looks unreal. Add in features like SkyPath, where you can design and automate complex flight routes, and suddenly this becomes something you can share. Hand the goggles to someone else and let them experience flight for themselves while the drone flies the path on its own. Bottom line, the anti-gravity A1 is the world's first 8K 360 drone, and it's genuinely a game changer. You get full immersive flight with the goggles, insanely intuitive controls, and total creative freedom. So, if you're thinking about buying a drone, make it this one. Head to sothereiwas.us/antigravity to check it out. And when you do, you'll get a free landing pad with your order. And thanks to Anti-Gravity for sponsoring this episode.
A question, if I may.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I haven't met most of you gentlemen, but just listening to your stories, a lot of you are military pilots. And that story of the Marines doing the 2 afterburner just reminded me of the story that I heard from Joe Rogan's podcast some time ago about an F-18 pilot flying out of, I believe, Roswell or Area 51. And he would purposely mess with UFO spotters back in the 90s. I don't know if you guys heard that story. Essentially, when they were training at night, he would fly super low, turn off all the lights, and once he got to the campsite, lights on, full afterburners, go straight up, kill the lights again. Next thing you know, 20 or 30 UFO reports got posted online that evening. So I'm just curious, have you guys have any stories like that? Or better yet, have you seen anything up there when you were flying, training, that just makes you want to question what the heck was that?
I've never seen anything. I think I saw one thing one night, but I don't know if it was the the Musk satellites. He lines those damn things up and all
Yeah.
that. So that looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome to watch. Starlink trails.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see those. The Starlink launches.
Yeah.
You see those pretty good bit when you're under NVGs. That's pretty cool. I've seen a couple of probably like weather balloons or something. You pass and you kind of look at it like, what was that? But no, nothing along UFO lines to report.
At least you didn't hit one of the weather balloons like that recent pilot did.
Have you
Oh,
seen
yeah.
any guys in that
Smash the-
jetpack when you're flying
Talking
around?
about smash the windshield.
Yeah.
Yeah, weather balloon. One night last year, going westbound. You guys hear that?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It went away. All right.
It's the UFOs.
Yeah. So going westbound, it was already dark. It was in the wintertime. And I was working the radios. I was training a new captain. And we switched frequencies over to Albuquerque frequency. We were going into San Fran from Houston. And they heard somebody talking about lights in the sky. And so I turned the cockpit lights way down. And anyway, the short of this is I found them and I could see what everybody was talking about. 3 lights. They look like stars and it looked like they were doing BFM at about 30 degrees above the horizon, like right in front of me. And so I'm trying to understand what I'm seeing. I'm trying to make sense of it, trying to explain it away. And I couldn't. And then we were getting close to Vegas and I thought it's a laser light show and there must be ice particles in the sky and it's picking it up. Well, we went blowing past Vegas and it was still out there in front of me. So the short of this is we get to San Fran. I saw it all the way until we descended in the clouds. It never really changed in the horizon. It was all in one spot. So we get off the plane. There's another crew standing there to take the plane and the captain of training is telling the crew about these lights we saw and the FO looks at me and he says, were you a military guy? I says, yeah. He goes, a fighter guy? And I said, sure. He goes, it looked like they were doing BFM. I said, yes. And he goes, yeah, I see that all the time. Nobody knows what the fuck that is. So fast forward to about 2 months ago. I'm having this discussion with somebody and this guy goes, you don't want to know? You want to know what that is? And I'm like, yeah. First of all, before I tell you, does anybody know what it is? Has anybody seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so all those Musk's Starlink satellites, they're going both directions, right? They're not all going the same direction. And at that particular time of day, those satellites were still being lit up by the sun, which was way below the horizon. And so it looked like it was a constant 3 lights doing this BFM exercise. And there was a pattern to it. And then he says, no, dude, it's like 2 rows of those satellites passing at just the right time. You're seeing the glint off the sun. I'm like, okay, now I know I'm not crazy. Well, at least not completely crazy.
Yeah, not that
still
case.
debatable.
Yeah.
It's kind of boring. I got a quick low lights in the cockpit, though. One night we're over the North Atlantic. I think it was my first or second time after checking out as a first officer on the MD-11. And the Aurora Borealis is lit up like I have never seen before. I mean, it is just gorgeous. So we turn off every light in the cockpit to include all the instruments. We got 6 CRT instruments right across the front of that thing. And so those are all light, turn them all off, and we're sitting there flying along, North Atlantic, autopilot's on. And we watch the Aurora Borealis for 10, 12, 15 minutes. I mean, it was a long time. Captain's in the back, sound asleep on break. I'm in the right seat. Relief pilot's sitting there in the captain's seat. And I'm like, all right, I guess we got to get back to work now. And turn all our instruments back on, and they are black. There's no instruments.
Oh, shit.
Like, holy shit. That turning all the way up, nothing. It's like, oh, fuck, we got to go wake up the captain and tell him we're in the middle of the Atlantic. And we've got no flight instruments. All we have, the autopilot's on, and it seems to be working right now. And we've got the FMC, so we can program the computer. And about the time I'm getting ready to get out of the seat and go get them, they start fading in. They were the old-fashioned CRTs. They weren't the instant-on LCD screens.
Yep.
So it was like your 1965 tube television slowly coming to life. It's like, oh, thank God.
That's a fucking relief.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Captain, time to wake up. We've been stupid.
So I got
Your
one
turn.
where I was a cadet actually out on the North Atlantic. It's actually the Mason Lakes, and so the story is that we had a second mate who was a total conspiracy theorist and all about UFOs and everything else, and then had a chief mate who was a total prankster, and so he drags me up to the bow of the ship at about 3:30 in the morning when the second mate's on watch and about ready to go off. And we're out there with a spud gun and a bunch of Xylem glow sticks. And we start launching these lit up Xylem glow sticks off of the bow. And, the second mate is losing his mind, wakes up the captain. We know when the captain gets up there and we stop doing it. And then as soon as the captain goes back down below deck, we start shooting them back off again. So this went on for about 20 to 25 minutes until the chief mate and I had to go up and relieve the second mate, after which he was completely, what do you mean? There was like, well, I didn't see anything. I've been out on I was out making rounds. I didn't see anything going. So it was pretty funny.
Yep.
All right.
Big,
Strange lights from the control tower.
well, Big was talking about the
Showers.
lights. All right, Big, you were talking about the lights and the illusion there. And it was a couple of years ago where everybody off the California coast thought that like a Chinese sub launched a ballistic missile back to China off the coast of California, but it took them like a year to figure out it was an airliner coming at this specific day on this specific time in the contrail, and the visual illusion of the sunrise where it looks like it starts from the ocean and goes back, but it's actually coming back the other way. Does anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Vaguely remember that. Yeah. So, yeah. Optical illusions. They're fantastic.
We were actually responsible for most of the UFO sightings because all the people in Tonopah and all those alien watchers would watch our range, and they'd see airplanes they hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And since our MiGs were silver, the wings would disappear because they'd be like a mirror and they would reflect the sky in a turn. So they would be blue and the sky was blue in the background. So the cigar-shaped fuselage became the focus of a lot of people in Tonopah and up that alien highway there. And it was all MiGs, so we'd laugh every day, especially when we went into Tonopah and went to the local bar and had people talking about what they saw. And we knew, well, that was us, and we were out there fighting. But the silver cigar-shaped objects were MiG-17s and 21s.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Did either you or maybe you, Scott, you flew Hornets? I heard, what are they called? Is it called a QB nuke, where you'd go up and you'd go slow flight and you'd dump gas and then hit reheat and light it off, get a big old fireball?
I did that in an air show once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell you who did that in the most spectacular way. Hoser, the world famous Hoser, was flying Bidgies. He flew just about every airplane there is. He even brought an EC-121 in the break at Miramar, big 4-engine Connie type airplane. But anyway, he flew everything, and he was in AIM Ace Val and an instructor at 101, the gun instructor, and he had an electric device on a spittoon. So he would, for his accuracy, he would spit across the room, and then he had a button at the podium that he'd press, and it would sound like his spit hit the spittoon on the other side. And that was his credibility for his gun lecture he was doing. But get this, we're all in Marshall one night in the Med. So it's a black ass night. Everybody's scared. Everybody came to Marshall early just to sit there in autopilot and orbit and think about dying on the landing. And we're all sitting there looking at the stack, from thousands of feet. There's somebody at every altitude. And here comes this frickin' comet from the sea up through the middle of the stack, all the way out the top. It's a freaking vigilante in full afterburner dumping gas, torching it behind him. So he had this 100-foot plume behind him. And that was hosed. That was really something.
That's very awesome.
Yeah. He did a flyby for Nixon. They have a very famous photo of it. And Nixon was standing next to the island, and he flew by the starboard side of the ship. And all the staff and everybody are looking down at the top of a vigilante who flew below the flight deck on the starboard side.
Oh, wow.
Pretty amazing.
And that's not a small airplane either.
No.
Bird.
No.
We had a Vigi pilot on.
Yep.
That was some time ago.
Yeah. He had good stories.
He was an F-8 pilot first, so you can imagine how good he was. F-8 pilot, F-8 instructor, a lot of Vietnam time. Yeah. Crazy man. Married a nun, had a lot of kids.
Oh, boy.
He used to fish with hand grenades. No shit.
You going to talk or you going to fish?
Yeah. That's effective. The DuPont spinner.
Right?
Yep.
Oh.
How many guys you got tuning in on this thing?
Looks like we're a little over a dozen or so right now. But yeah, well, we'll probably put this out on New Year's Day. I'm thinking this will be a New Year's show.
Oh, you actually make it a show? Wow.
I think so. Yeah, unless there's anybody here that has objection to any of this going out. Yeah, seems like something to do with it. So
yeah.
How about anything from the controllers? Come on, you guys got to have some more stories or questions for us or comments, things you wish pilots knew.
Or
It's been quiet. But
I'll give a chance for one last question for me because I'm going to join my family with some Christmas stuff. If you don't have any questions, I'll just say goodbye. And if you do, I'm here to answer it.
All right, boys. Now's your chance.
Right? You get to ask Heater anything.
questions. I don't want that much military stuff, Were you an airline pilot too, or just military?
Only military. Yeah.
Okay.
The airliners don't go straight up and straight down, so that wasn't for me.
No, I don't blame you.
So what I think some of our listeners may not know is that Heater was actually instrumental in helping to create the movie Top Gun. Worked with what was it? Simpson. I'm trying to remember his first name.
Tony Scott.
And
Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer, and Tony Scott.
Bruckheimer. Yeah. Spent a little time sitting on the bar stool next to Kelly McGillis, I understand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you poor bastard. So,
I might be a little biased, but I do gotta say that the Blue Angels tend to have better shows than the Thunderbirds, based on my experience.
Oh, your stock just went up.
I'm not going to argue. I don't think anybody here is going to argue with you on that.
No, that's a true
I love
statement.
seeing them down in Florida. The radio communications is just something out of this world. I love it.
And they do fly closer. And they do some really good stuff. And I like the Thunderbirds, but the Blues do it better.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, Lawman tells the story where they had gone out to Nellis to do the swap with the the Thunderbirds, and so they had a Thunderbird riding in the back seat of Dino, which was the slot guy, the number 4 guy, and he got out of the plane when they were done, and said, "You fuckers are crazy," and walked off.
Yep, fantastic. So. Well, I got a quick question on the whole Top Gun thing here. Then, from the time you heard that they were interested in doing it to the time that movie hit the street, how long was that process?
In '83, California Magazine came out where they saw my photo, and that's when it started. They picked up Viper, Pete Pettigrew, not long after that, to help him put some content into the script, Navy stuff, and worked with the writers. So they were working on that 84, 85, and then they started location scouting in early 85. And that's when I met Tony. And at that point, I had no idea they were making a movie. No idea. Even when they took pictures of me on the base, just randomly, some woman that was all punk rocked out with all kinds of piercings and purple hair. And she had a big Polaroid camera, and she said, "I need to take a picture of you." And I go, "Why?" And she said, "We're making a movie about fighter pilots and we need extras." And I said, I'm not a candidate because I'm the opso of the rag and I'm too busy. And I tried to walk on. She shot my picture anyway, and they ended up picking me to be in it. So even then, months before shooting started, I didn't even know they were making a movie about Top Gun. Even she said, "We're making a fighter pilot movie."
Okay.
And then when I really found out, I'm sitting in my office and Tony Scott walks in with a bunch more punk rockers in his entourage, and he grabs his wad of money and he starts doling out hundreds. And he said, "How much are all those pictures in the O Club? I want to buy them right now. We heard they're all yours." And I had to tell him to put the money away. We're active duty. You'll get people in trouble. Stop doing it. And I told him, "I'll give you all the photos you want. Come to my house." So he told his entourage to get my address, and he said, "I'll be there at 7 o'clock. And sure enough, he showed up, and we talked movies and the script. And like I said yesterday, it was unbelievable, all the horrible stuff they were going to put in the original.
I like the idea of him dating a dancer, right?
Yeah.
An enlisted woman dancer. Yeah.
I like that idea.
And she was a gymnast. Yeah.
Well, why would she be?
Yeah. Yeah. So that didn't fly. And
Actually,
Tony also wanted to make it dark. He said, "Go get the VHS called The Hunger." And so I did it. It was Catherine Deneuve and David Bowie, and it was a vampire movie.
Oh my God.
And it was, you know how that F-14 looked that you showed yesterday, the silhouette?
Right.
Right. Imagine if that was blue, dark blue, and white instead of black and white. That's how he shot most of the movie. It was all silhouetted, smoky, blue, dark. And he said, "Heater, this movie's going to be testosterone fueled tension in the bowels of the carrier." And he thought that this would be like this giant fight between Iceman and Maverick in the carrier, in the bowels of the carrier. So I said, "Tony, let's go upstairs." So we walk upstairs. We get to my light table, which was huge. I got thousands of slides out there, and I start showing them all the pictures. And I said, "See all these white puffy clouds and this beautiful blue sky and the sun on the airplane?" I said, "That's what we're talking about. That's dogfighting, and that's what we do. And that's when we fly, that's what we see." And so this was several months before the movie started, and I'm sure that I had a lot to do with changing his mind about how to film the movie, because he wanted it dark. and moody. And after he came back to me again, after he thought about it, we went through more slides. That's when he picked up the 24 slides to put all over the movie on the walls of Top Gun and the ship and everywhere else. All those stills are mine. And he said, here's what we're going to do. This is going to be MTV fighter pilots, rock and roll fighter pilots. I go, what do you mean? He goes, you know how MTV, in order to capture eyeballs, they never have anything on the screen for more than a few seconds. He said, so I'm going to have, 2 seconds from this camera, then we're going to cut, set up another one, and then 3 seconds from that one, 4 seconds there, 2 seconds there. And so it's going to be visually interesting the whole time. It's going to capture eyeballs, and it's just going to be bam, 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 bam with rock music. And sure enough, that's what he did. And in Hollywood, it started a trend. So everybody started making movies like Tony. It wasn't like a play where everyone's up there, the camera's here, and you go through all your lines and there's one point of view. It's bam, 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 bam from all kinds of angles. 2-shot, group shot, close up, and just keeps moving. So that was pretty cool to watch the evolution of the director from what he thought he was going to film to what he ended up filming.
That's really interesting. Who knew?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm glad it turned out the way it did, because I can't imagine it the other way. I don't think it would have been as impactful.
And when you think of Hollywood, drugs, and rock and roll, I call my wife and I go, hon, we got a director going to come over. He's a Hollywood director. They're making a movie. He wants to see my slides. She's like, well, what do I make for a Hollywood director? I go, I have no idea, but he said he's going to be there at 7:00. So we get there, and she made chocolate chip cookies. So you probably think we sat around either drinking or he was smoking dope or snorting coke. But what do you have with chocolate chip cookies?
You got to have milk.
Gotta have it.
We were sitting there in the living room talking about the movie, eating chocolate chip cookies and drinking milk with a Hollywood director.
That's freaking awesome.
Pretty
amazing. That's awesome.
How about that?
Oh, so one last quick question. You may or may not know. Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I flew it with him. He was the one. Was he the squadron CO of
He was the squadron CO that ended up with a lot of equipment in his garage.
Yep.
And they
booted
went,
on his ass for it.
Mackerel, you're profiting off the movie, which is why in Top Gun they put 3 PAOs on the set all the time to watch everyone. One time, quick little story to show you how serious it got. We already talked about yesterday how they wouldn't even let me film until they paid a cinematographer to sit on his ass and get paid for every hour I shot, right? So that was one thing. Here's another. It's 108 degrees and probably 120 on the flight line when we're filming it in the summer. So they bring out this big cooler of Pepsis and Cokes, and they put it down, and it's full of ice, and everybody rush over to grab it. And when me and a couple of other extras reached in, no. The PAOs that were there to watch.
That's a gift.
Nope. You can't have that. We're like, I'll pay you $10. I don't care. I don't mind paying for it. I'm thirsty. I'm freaking hot. Nope, can't touch it. So none of the active duty even had a Coke that they brought out for everyone. And that's how serious they were the whole freaking movie.
Yeah. I mean, it cost Emery his career. I know that much. So he was the squadron CO when they were filming Final Countdown, and he was the guy who lost control and barely recovered above the water. I don't remember who that pilot was. You probably know.
Yeah, I came out of my seat when I watched that because I thought he's going to crash.
Yeah.
And Emery Brown was apparently an incredibly talented artist. He could do caricatures and go up to the blackboard and draw anything, and just real smart, real creative, and probably would have made a great admiral, but that knocked him off the track.
It did. He got out of, after he left the Navy, he went to law school and defended himself. Went back and sued a bunch and defended himself and all that, and then retired from at 30 years. I guess he and Fred were tight.
Oh, good.
So,
good. So, glad it had a happy ending.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Heater, for coming with us.
All right.
Yeah, always good.
Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm going to go join my family.
And you enjoy your family.
Enjoy your festivities, Heater.
All right. You guys take care. Good being with you again.
Likewise.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well, we got to get some controller pilot interaction here before we sign off for the night. Come on, you guys must have something. Any stupid pilot tricks you've seen?
Unintentional.
Any close calls? Like we had Dan on from Danger Close Enough podcast, and his opening. So there I was a helicopter trying to hit a 737 on departure.
Yikes!
Yeah. So he told them both to look at each other, and they did, and they watched each other pass very close aboard. So,
we do have a gentleman that flies an Albatross, L-39, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oftentimes he just goes, flies around, comes back. Most of the time he requests an overhead, which, we 99% of the time he gets, we give it to him. Remember a few times, especially when we're on runway 5, the FBO's on the other side of the runway, he would touch down right at the touchdown marks on 2 wheels and just wheelie the Albatross all the way down the runway in front of the tower to Alpha, then put the nose gear down and taxi up. So he's a little show off.
That's aero braking. He's aero braking.
Aerodynamic braking. That's right.
Yeah, he's trying to save his brakes.
I'll tell you what, though, it's Cherry Point now. The 35's coming in. We see a lot of that now.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All the Harrier pilots, I think, are enjoying it so far.
Oh, the aero braking part.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Harriers come in, just splat, and that's it. You keep on trucking. Man, they will pull a wheelie the entire freaking runway now, man.
Yep.
Interesting.
So I remember this one. Fig was coming in. I want to say it was runway 5 there at Cherry Point. It would have been, is it 5 left? Anyway, he's coming in, he's landing, and Tower goes, say braking action. Fig goes, yeah, the brakes in this thing suck. Which is true.
That's just being honest.
Being honest. Yeah.
If you want a braking action report, you got to ask a different kind of airplane, because our brakes always they were never good.
Or the missed call on the radio. I hear this all the time, because that was before everything was standard as centigrade in U.S. Naval, in United States aviation. Everything was still in Fahrenheit, but all our stuff we needed in the cockpit was all centigrade. And so I remember someone calling in going, hey, say time and temperature in centigrade. Say, well, sorry, I only have the time in Fahrenheit.
You do the math, not me.
Yeah. or call it to get a clearance on squadron frequency.
That's the best.
Yeah,
that's the best.
On departure, climb to maintain 5,000 feet, roll inverted and pull.
We're going to need a 360-degree turn for radar identification prior to you taxiing, sir.
Yeah.
What? What?
You guys got hit by lasers often when you guys fly around?
I've been hit 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have too. And I had the most exciting time was I was at about 50 feet in Afghanistan. It's 3:00 in the morning. I'm going into this little fob called Sharana, a gravel runway, 3,000 foot long, and it was uphill. You can only go in one way and come out the other way, because it's right, it's in a box canyon, basically, right on the Pakistani border. And I got a whole load of Army guys in the back, and we're flying, and I'm literally seconds from touching down, and and I'm on the NVGs. The whole cockpit goes bright, and then I hear the the flare bucket under the cockpit going because it set off the self-defense system of the airplane, and I knew immediately, when I felt the flares going off, I'm like, fuck, it's a laser. And everybody started screaming, what the fuck? It's a laser. It's a laser. Just don't fucking look at it.
Yeah.
Anyway, some kid down in the creek, below it was. And so then another time I couldn't figure out, we're 30,000 feet. And I'm in a 737 and I'm at 30,000 feet and I am watching this guy lasers. I'm like, how the fuck is he seeing us? How is he seeing us? I mean, he keeps saying he's like putting it right on us. It's coming right in the cockpit. And then I look up and I got the airplane lit up like the Battlestar Galactica. Every light that was on when I turned them all on for takeoff, I never shut them off. So yeah, the dude was, he had something to aim at.
Yeah. I got hit in Paris, Boston, and Salt Lake. Fortunately, never damaged my eyes. But the problem is, the light comes at you, and what's the natural reaction? It's not to look away.
No, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? It's pretty light.
Yeah, I get hit by a laser, but it was being used by my search target.
Oh. Nice.
So he actually managed to call our attention to him, so we were able to hoist him out. So
that's pretty sick.
That's good. Blind your rescue pilot before he's going to hoist your ass. See how that works out for you.
Well, at least we found him, But it was at least once we got to him, he stopped hitting us with it. But he was not giving up without. It was a pain in the ass, but yeah.
So I can only imagine that's not a pleasant feeling when you get hit by laser. And
only one time.
It reminds me of one time.
But the other times weren't painful. But it does piss you off because you know how dangerous it is.
Exactly. So it reminds me of the one time I was working in radar downstairs, and I don't know. You're familiar with Newport? It's an uncontrolled field, and there's always guys doing their touch and goes. And I remember one time it was later at night, really around this time, so traffic is kind of dying down slowly. There was one guy just practicing touch and goes on runway 16, and I see him on the radar scope. I'm not talking to him because I don't need to. All of a sudden, he comes in, checks in, and reports a laser strike, and says something along the lines of a 1 mile final off to his right side of runway 16. So I make the note of that. I tell my supervisor, they got to do their checklist procedures, call police department, etc., etc. Yeah. He does the pattern. He touches down, goes back again, goes into the same spot, and then says, hey, I got hit again. Now, this time, it appears to be one male target at a Shaw's parking lot. Okay, so he got hit twice now. He goes in again, says, well, the target just moved. He's at a church now. And we get hit again. So he did that 3 or 4 times. I don't know if that's stupid or just being persistent, trying to, give me as much information as he can, trying to catch the guy. But he would give me exact locations of the parking lot and near where he was. So he could, call Newport police and tell him, hey, go to that spot and look for the guy. But, if I was a pilot, I'd get hit once. I would just get the hell out of there.
Right. I mean, you can go back and see if you didn't like it. Come on.
Maybe he liked it too much. I don't know.
It reminds me of the story in the Stars and Stripes in summer of 92. 4 women were suing the Tailhook Association for the sexual harassment at the Las Vegas Hilton during the Tailhook Convention. 2 of the women said they were assaulted in 1990. 2 of the women said they were assaulted in 1991. And 2 of the 4 said they were assaulted both years. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back and see if
let's go back, see if it really worked. Yeah.
So, go back and see if they'll laze me again. I'm sorry. That's in the order of stupid pilot tricks there.
Yeah, I'm glad he, made it to the ground safely, because you never know.
Yeah.
One time you get hit directly in your eyes and
close one eye maybe is your only, or have laser glasses on. Yeah. Although, Fig, did you ever wear those welding goggles?
I could never see anything with them on.
Yeah,
I did not.
They were very, very light, but they were green. But you could see through them in theory. But
I didn't like them. So I didn't like them,
and I never wore them. I figured I'm never going to get laced. What could go wrong? Flying a single seat tac jet?
Nothing. Well, I always kept one eye closed just in case.
Yeah.
That explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
shit.
Talking about lasers, I'm now in the higher ed world. So, we're doing our presentations and I got the little, red laser. But my boss, he has a older model. It's a Grizzly. Jesus Christ. Don't point that out the window at an airplane. Please, boss. Don't do that. He's got the green laser. Jesus.
Yeah. Stop.
Oh, yeah. Those things are amazing.
Oh, I got a good one for you.
All right,
Now, my university, which shall remain nameless, like your airlines, is looking to go back into the aero program business.
Really?
So, or it's aerospace now. It's
Yeah.
not
Okay.
aeronautics. It's aerospace. Like, okay, whatever. So I told them, we're going to do this. Oh, we need a plane. What? It says, we need a plane. Because I went to the same university. At that point, when we had an aero program, we had a plane of our own. I can't do this. I ask of either Sticks or Bago or a repeat. Can you look up this plane on probably another screen? November 4040 Whiskey.
Okay.
And that was our old baby. Once you find it, like, ooh, that's a cool one to have. And I keep saying, I know these friends, they're former Marine Corps pilots. Let me see if I can score a Harrier for us. Now they're coming out of service. So you guys got any leads on how I can get one of your planes? Okay.
Actually, I do. I know a couple of the guys that are allocating them for museums.
Now we're talking.
If you're being serious, I know exactly who to get you in contact with.
Holy
We don't
shit.
have the room for it anymore. The way we were configured, we were joined with East Coast Aerotech, which is since they dissolved, and actually I think they kind of got reformed. That's who we dealt with out at Hanscom for basing of the planes. But that N number I just gave you, that was the Havilland Beaver. I flew in it twice. Oh, actually. So there I was, just
Here we go.
sitting down, relaxing, unwinding. I'll use the call sign for this guy, Wingnut.
Okay.
He was the head of the
Big ears.
aero department. And, it's one of those big radial.
Yeah.
You smell something, Wingnut? Yeah. I'm like, hey, it's a little smoky in here. Okay. And start looking for roadways or stuff like that in case we need to make small emergency landing or whatnot. But we ended up getting, looping back, got back to Hanscom, no problem. I go, what the hell? It's just a damn loose fitting. Okay, we're back in the air, no problem.
So yeah, that's a de Havilland Beaver, and according to what I'm seeing now, it looks like it's being operated up in Fairbanks, Alaska.
Yeah, there's a site there. When you see it as yellow colored, You'll see our school symbol on there.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
Well, how about
Yeah.
that shit?
Now I keep saying, I tell the boss, oh yeah, but we not. Then he starts thinking, about it. You think we should try to buy the old plane back just to have it? Why not? I think it. When we had it, had wheels. When it went up to Alaska, it got floats. It got dinged in some sort of landing, and now I think it's without an engine. It's back on sort of wheels, and I don't know if it'll ever fly again, but it's like, I didn't know you guys had planes. Oh, I said, yeah, we had that. We used to have a whole bunch of radial engines that the students would break down, reassemble, and then fire them up in the spring semester. If they worked, you passed the course.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice.
Fantastic.
But the neighborhood didn't quite like us.
Well,
Well, they don't like the sound of freedom, apparently.
Exactly right. So.
We also had an straight wing F-84 plane at the university. It came in pieces, and we reassembled it. I don't think I got pictures of that, so I have to look at my collection of. Bleh. Oh, repeat! Right. I did get the glassware.
Fantastic!
Hey,
it came. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, it came. Yeah, and I'm also taking part of Wing Lore.
Wing Lore Spirits, yeah.
Yes.
That's some bogey dope there.
Bogey dope.
Is that the Dos Gringos?
The Dos Gringos.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it any good, Dizzy?
Yes.
You missed
it. It's good bourbon.
You didn't go to the concert.
I had previous engagement.
And we got no cavort report. So what the hell? It's starting to be a habit with you, Fig. So.
Listen, there are certain things we just can't talk about on the air. In person, I'll tell you everything.
There you go. All right. Well, with that, we've been going a lot longer than I expected to, so we probably ought to wrap it up and say Happy New Year to everybody who's listening to this who wasn't here. A little bit ago, we had Heater, we got Sticks and Chalk Hall. Mateo has been mute and blind too, no camera all night. Curtis and Pavel from the Providence Tower, actually Quonset, Rhode Island Tower. Badass is with us, much appreciated. Porky from VMA 223,
the Great American Bulldogs.
Yeah. Scotty Southard was here, but he bagged out on us a little bit ago. Speaking of bagging, there's Bag-O. Sticks. Who'd I miss? Anybody? Well, Dizzy's holding up the Bulldog.
Look at Dizzy.
We got a little. We need to do a little shout out for Chalks here, who is now an actual bona fide private pilot.
Congratulations,
Chalk. Yeah. Nice. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Good for you. Very cool. Any interesting? How'd your check ride go? How many check rides did it take?
There you go.
So it only took one, but actually there was some funny stories that happened on the check ride.
All right, give us one quick one, and then we got to wrap.
Well, if you recall, Sticks and I seem to have a thing for bird strikes. I did, in fact, nearly hit a bird on the check ride as well. I glanced down for a moment and then looked back up, and what do you know? Another bald eagle's coming straight at us.
Wow. And Fig showing his fighter bar there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
America. All right. Well, so you missed the bird. You passed your ride. You got your ticket. Congratulations. You never have to renew it. It's always good. You have to keep it recurrent good, but done something very few people have ever done. I want to thank all the veterans, all the active duty, all the people in the families who supported them so they could do their thing and give us the freedoms that we currently enjoy. So, any other thank yous out there, Fig?
Yeah, I'm coming. I got all tangled up on the other side of the bar.
Right?
Sorry. I was trying to show you the picture of the old Squadron Emblem on the front of the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course there is. Let's see. We need to thank Dave Hamilton at backbeatmedia.com for all the advertising support and all the support in general that he's given us over these last 3.5,
almost coming up on 4 years. We're closer to 4 years.
Holy
3 years, 8
fook.
months.
Wow.
Crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 193, this will be?
This
yes.
2. This is probably 192. 190 is out today.
Yeah, 92.
Yeah.
Yep. So, very cool.
Holy shit. We need to thank...
That's amazing.
I know, right? How the hell did that happen?
I mean, that was quick.
It is. It's gone. I mean, how the hell really did that happen? We need to thank our donors who have lost all sense of monetary judgment and throw money at us through Patreon. And so there I was .us/donate, but we are so very humbled and appreciative, and it allows us to put this on because I know it's hard to believe, but we don't really make any money doing this, do we? Repeat.
Right? No,
It's kind of like a part-time job sometimes. Holy shit.
It is, but it's
especially for you.
It's a labor of love, and we've got some good stuff, and we've got some good stuff coming forward too. So we're appreciative of that. But if you find that you love our labor of love, share the show with somebody else and send them to sothereiwas.us/subscribe. And you can pick it there, whether you want to get Amazon Music or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Downcast or Overcast or Upcast or any kind of podcatcher, wherever you get your podcasts. So there I was.
You got podcatchers?
Yeah.
Podcatchers.
Your favorite podcatcher. We're in there. So.
What else? Hey, well, we've already thanked Badass for being here. Thanks, Badass, and thanks for taking such great pictures and letting us use those. And thanks to we got Bago and Sticks with us tonight. The gentlemen that are usually in the background doing all the fancy stuff, making this look really good. And by the way, they are the entire brain of the operation. Repeat and I are merely just a couple of amoebas, really. Single cell organism.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't put you in that category. I'm a single cell organism. Repeat's got more than one cell.
I try rubbing my two brain cells together, and I forget what I was going to do with them anyway. So. Oh well. So I guess the last people we need to thank is both of them, the Gringos, who let us use their music. We appreciate their sound. The two guys who make the Air Force sound good.
Apparently, they got brown liquor that makes it more taste good now.
Yeah, it makes it more taste good indeed. So, Happy New Year, everybody. Have a blessed 2026. Thanks for all your support, and we look forward to another great year with you.
Holy
so
shit.
Until next week, stay safe and check six.
Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
What did he say?
It's over.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
No!
Let him go. Let him go. He's on a roll.